remind you, every single game has a video referee, and every single game is live on Sky Sports this year. We invite you to follow the story as it travels from here to October and the grand final at Old Trafford. Might we be seeing one of these two teams in that grand final? It will be Castleford who get first touch of the ball, and just holding on to the ball, John Wells, is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, we've seen in the last hour or two the conditions have really deteriorated, so this will be very tightly contested for the first 10 or 15 minutes, and ball control will be at the top of the agenda for this new look Castleford Tigers outfit. Look, you know what you're going to get from the Wigan Warriors. That's no surprise, is it? I'm really interested to see how this new look Tigers fare.
Well, that was Nixon put on debut with his first carry of the night as well, his first carry in a Castleford shirt. And Castleford looking to travel well here. The intensity of that Wigan defence has kept them pinned inside their own 40 on this, the sixth tackle. O'Hooley with a kick is charged down by Thompson, is it? Yes, it is. The referee's waved another 6. And I don't think Richardson read that. And the ball is out on the bounce, but I don't think Danny Richardson realised that he's side him and given another set of 6 there.
No, it was Luke Thompson who affected the charge down. Now, Danny Richardson gets the kick away. The one saving grace is that doesn't go out in the full, but there was an opportunity there for another 6 tackles. You know, Danny's returned to the game after a long and frustrating set of injuries. I'm really hopeful for his 2024 season. He's a great kid, and he's had the devil's own job with injuries over the last 12 to 18 months.
He's almost like a new player. It's a penalty here for Wigan. He's almost like a new player for Cass, isn't he? Because MCL, ACL, I think he missed the whole of last season, didn't he?
Yeah, and a serious neck injury in there as well. And as I said, really upbeat, positive kid, knows his rugby, high-quality player. He's going to take a bit of time to feel his way out. This is the penalty. Liam Byrne goes in for the driver. Just a little bit too much attention there in the ruck.
So Brad O'Neill will tap the restart as Wigan get a chance to build here. Ball in hand for the first time, and they find themselves deep in enemy territory. Here's Luke Thompson. Big effort from him. In Australia for the last 2 or 3 years, maybe not had the impact there that he would have hoped to have had, but my goodness, if he comes back like the player he was at St Helens, then Wigan have got a real signing on their hands. O'Neill back towards the middle again. Taken on by Kade Ellis. Ellis keeps it alive. Now it's with a skipping Bevan French. French has a look, tantalises that Castleford defence, invites them to a misstep, but they make the tackle, and the referee has seen something here. Penalty for Wigan. High shot. And they're going for goal. Surprise you, John?
No, not particularly. It's 2 points given, isn't it? It's just a reaching arm, isn't it? Eli Al-Kazim, who's just reached out. No force in it. No question of any referee reaching for a card. We've seen that a lot, haven't we, over the opening two or three games, as the players and the referees have been getting used to that new interpretation. All brought in, of course, as a result of the recommendations from the Brain Health Subcommittee that, you know, in an attempt to protect and prolong players' careers. I'm not surprised that Ollie goes for 2. Nice little sighter for Harry Smith.
Well, the architects of Super League, what, 30 years ago, very nearly promised us a summer game. I don't think they envisaged a night like this in Castleford in February, did they?
Hey, we've had worse. It's actually mild. The conditions are pretty good. I brought my heated gilet this evening, Dave, and it's in the bag. I don't need it.
Harry Smith strokes it over. Interesting there that he's carrying on his kicking duties as well. The signing of Adam Kieran gives Wigan that extra dynamic as a goal kicker, but Harry Smith, certainly the second half of last season, was more consistent than he was in the first half in his goal kicking.
Yeah, he had a real wobble, didn't he? And his percentages weren't great. I think towards the back end of the season, you're right, he had some kicking coaching there internally at the Wigan Warriors, and that improved no end. But they do have a brilliant deputy in waiting in Adam Kieran, who for me, I think he's up there with the signings of the season.
Here comes Thompson again with a big impact as he takes it in. And O'Neill stands and waits a dummy half. It's dark out there, isn't it, with the rain coming down. Lysa gets up and plays. O'Neill will collect and deliver, and Farrell will take it on again. There's plenty of enthusiasm, as you would expect and hope, in those Castleford defenders in these early stages. O'Neill again. Wigan, just with this big pack of theirs, can chew up the meters unless defences are really on their mettle. O'Neill again. It's time from the feet of Byrne. Little chip forward from Bevan French. Looking for the corner, trying to put pressure on Luke Hooley, who we saw as a Leeds player last year. He's got a penalty here. We saw him as a Leeds player, didn't really get a run, did he, Luke Hooley? I think we went back to Batley under Craig Lingard, so he knows all about him, but it'd be interesting to see how he goes as well this year. Yeah,
I think a prolonged period in the Super League, and he's going to get that at full-back. I mean, Fletcher Rooney's waiting in the sidelines, and it is a high tackle from Cade Ellis. Now, there is mitigation here. Player is falling, but there's direct contact with the head. I'd be interested to see, given what we've seen so far this weekend, what the result of this is. You can see there's a falling player, but that is direct contact with the head. Yeah, Luke Hooley, of course, you're right, he did come from Batley and returned to Batley on loan, but 33 tries in 60-odd games in 4 seasons for him was pretty impressive.
So the referee is in conversation here with a video referee who, having seen those replays, has talked about that mitigation. So penalty and nothing to add to that.
Yeah, so it's I've been reading these in the off-season. Mitigation point 4 it is. It's to do with a player falling into contact, and that's why it's just a penalty and no reason for a referee to reach for a card. Sensible stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nixon Putt will carry it in. Just into that Wigan half. Westerman helping it on its way again. Wigan's defence is up and smart. Liam Horn, the Papua New Guinean, in at dummy half. Richardson offering it back here for El Zakim, who on the angle finds more willingness from that Wigan muscle. Horn against another set of 6. Another set of 6 here, and they're already advancing well. This is terrific stuff from Horn. Saw a little bit of a lapse in that defence and has eaten up the meters. Miller now with a short pass. And Castleford are knocking on the door. Horn again. Miller's waiting. Horn's going to have a go. The Wigan's defence is too smart for that. He's going to be held up. Tassipali takes over as dummy half. Miller's waiting for the inside ball. Back to Miller. Westerman. Richardson. Hooley steps away from Marshall's tackle, but more there in recovery. El Zakim and Wigan are offside, and a penalty for Castleford right underneath the sticks, and immediately Joe Westerman has pointed to the fact that he wants his side to take a kick for goal here.
Yeah, just a couple of steps in front of the referee made it an obvious decision, but you can trace all that back, and the territory that the Tigers have got now and the opportunity to square up the points if they do indeed go for goal, which I think they are. That was all started by a really good line by El Zakim, which I know is a trademark of his, and then this run from Liam Horn. This is Liam Horn. For those who don't know enough about him, we saw glimpses at the back end of 2023. He is electric out of dummy half. Great feet.
It's just a handful of appearances last year, wasn't he, Liam Horn? Just the 5 goes in a Castleford shirt after his arrival mid-season. But he's looking lively. Paul McShane's going to be missing for a good 6 weeks or so, isn't he? So Castleford do need that cover in the 9 role. Richardson. And over it goes. And we're all square again with just about 8 minutes played. Castleford 2, Wigan 2.
Yeah, Craig Lingard, Danny Maguire in the coaching box. They'll be pretty happy with the start that the Castleford Tigers have had. A bit of indiscipline from the Wigan Warriors, and you've seen early glimpses there of some of what these new recruits, or newish recruits, can do. I think the key for the Castleford Tigers is a lot of inexperience in this side, certainly at Super League level. You know, I think they need to be in this battle at the 50-60 minute mark to kind of vindicate the work that they've been doing.
It's Pat Richards-esque, that, wasn't it, that kick-off from Harry Smith? Castleford just about recovering in the shape of Innes Senior. Another of those making his debut today. Getting himself used to these circumstances. He had to backpedal quite a way, but it was a safe catch in the end. Castleford building from deep. Here comes Hall. And now Putt. Nixon Putt. He's gathering a few extra yards here. Horn again. Richardson helps it on its way. They're looking for a bit of space on this right-hand side. Well, this is a decent carry from Broadbent. Had Gary on the outside, but Broadbent carries, stumbles. The referee says play on. Back to Richardson again. Chipping for the corner. It's gathered in nicely by Marshall. And Wigan start from there.
And that's an area where you can have some success against the Wigan Warriors. They're very, very aggressive on the edge defence. You'll see Joe Wardle and Liam Marshall do that an awful lot, try and cut down the time that an attacking player has. Luke Hooley tried to cut it down, but if these Castleford outside backs get their depth, their timing and their execution right, they could cause more problems for Wigan than that.
Here's O'Neill. Thompson again. What have you made of his impact in these early stages, Luke Thompson?
Exactly what you'd expect, wouldn't it? You know, it's Route 1 stuff. I think he's a real hard-nosed prop. I'd love to see what he's like in a little bit of space. I remember him as being not just a grunt player, but a tackle buster and with pace as well in the clear. So we'll see how much of that is retained.
Tell you what, there was plenty of hang time on that from Harry Smith, wasn't there? A lot of time for Luke Hooley to think about that and know what was coming, but he's done it safely enough. But again, it's a tough place for Cass to start here.
Yeah, it's very methodical from the Warriors as well. You can see that they're putting Castleford Tigers in corners, making them work out of corners and compressing that defensive line as well.
They only conceded 360 points in their 27 Super League games last year before the playoffs, which tells you an awful lot about Wigan, doesn't it? That low concession, that meanness of defence.
Yeah, and during the playoffs as well. I mean, in the 2 playoff games, 14 points across 2 games in the semi and the final. You know, that's against opposition that have got silverware to play for. That was impressive.
Well, the bounce is kind here for Jay Field, who's immediately looking on his outside, and that's one way of stopping him. Jack Broadbent does well. And now it's Marshall.
This is where they're so good, the Warriors. You know, even if Field doesn't get a clean break, he'll get a half break, quick play the ball. And then they've got Miskey and Marshall, who are just 25, 30 carries a game. Real industrious workers that set Wigan on a great platform.
Farrell to his feet. O'Neill out of dummy half. Now it's with Cade Ellis. Well, they've still got tackles in the bag, a couple of them to go. And Wigan at 30 metres out, and Smith looking to put the ball back on the inside for Wardle. And Wardle sets a platform here. What can we expect from this last play? Harry Smith comes to the left-hand side. It's a chip as well, and Gary does well to dive back and turn it to safety. But great pressure kick, great 6-tackle play. Yeah,
excellent kick, really well weighted from Harry Smith. Good kick chase as well. That's about as well as Gary could have done, to be honest. Make it safe. I think that's your first priority. Defensive winger, you can't see where the opposition's coming from. Make it safe. And he is a talent, by the way.
I was going to say, you know when you're getting old, when you realise that Jason Gary's actually 20 now.
Just 20
Still
as well.
Remember those pictures of him being at school the day after he made that eye-catching debut a couple of years ago. But he's growing up into a fine young fella. Wigan will come back with another wave of attack here, led by Liam Byrne. So already that platform set. Thompson. Here's O'Neill. Back it comes to Smith. Taken on a bit again by Ellis. O'Neill. Oh, and Smith with the error. We can expect plenty of those tonight, given the conditions, but I don't think he'll forgive himself for that. That was a fairly easy catch, wasn't it?
Yeah, just I suppose a little in front of him if you want to be hypercritical of Brad O'Neill's service. But they're in a good attacking position. I will say about the Tigers, with all the personnel changes you talked about, 16 going out, 11 coming in, new coach, new philosophy, new culture, not an awful lot of experience at this level. That defensive line looks very organised. What are we, 13 minutes into the game? But I'm looking and keeping an eye on what the defence are doing. They're not getting pulled out of shape.
Well, he's one of 2 or 3 rookie coaches in Super League, isn't he, Craig Lingard? He was here last year, of course, as an assistant, but in terms of leading his side in Super League, the other one, of course, tonight, or one of the other ones, is Sam Burgess leading Warrington in Catalan. What a story that's going to be throughout the year. Hesitate to ask, is it going to be Warrington's year? I don't think Warrington fans will forgive us for that. A dummy half its Horn. Castleford efficiently getting themselves downfield here. but they've already reached the 5th. So on at the last, they'll be looking for a decent finish. Hooley, a little scrappy, but it is at least out of play.
You see, that's been the difference, I think, if anything, in this opening quarter of the game. You've got Harry Smith and Bevan French that have been putting kicks and sticking them on top of wingers' heads with a good kick chase. They're starting sets of 6 from the 10-by-10 square in the corner of the field. You know, that looked a little bit rushed, a little bit disorganised, and this is a whole different ball game from a defensive point of view with Wigan starting midfield.
And this is a ground, I mean, you know this ground as well as anybody. This is a ground where getting out of yardage very quickly comes into being good ball, doesn't it? You know, they couple of plays and suddenly you're in an attacking position.
The flip side's true as well, though. You can go from a good position to being on your own goal line very quickly as well.
O'Neill and Thompson. Well, they've got his number, 4 of them. O'Neill. It's with Ellis. Well, here they go, Wigan. This time it's Byrne, Liam Byrne. O'Neill waits again. Ellis along that line. They are making progress. It's the big fellas who've got them here. Will we see a little craft now in the closing stages of this set? With French. Oh, and again it doesn't connect. Doesn't quite connect with Kieran on that far side. And Castleford survive and get a tap back on the 20, and it's a 7-tackle count now.
Yeah, the build-up was great from French. He got across the defender and interested the man next to him, who shouldn't have been interested, but the ball, just a little bit too much weight on it. And you're right, the Tigers 7-tackle set. They're already up close to the 40-metre line.
Well, we said this plenty over the weekend, but you know, these are grand final conditions. You've got to be able to play in all seasons, haven't you, these days? In the rain, we'll see plenty of sunshine. We might see a little bit of snow before the year's out, before the month is out, but these are conditions that are testing as Richardson puts the kick and chase on. It's covered by Field, but Field can only fall on the ball, so Wigan start from a very deep position.
No, it was very, very early in the set as well. I'm not sure about the decision on that one.
They come rolling thick and fast to these fixtures, of course. Every single one of those matches, as will be the case every week, live on Sky Sports. You will not miss a beat. And of course, we got the added bonus this year of a World Club Challenge. What an occasion that is going to be. Be right here for that one. Wigan against Penrith. 8 o'clock kickoff, but plenty of build-up.
And as Farrell loses the ball, massive congratulations to the Wigan Warriors organisation. Sold out signs at the DW Stadium. That's brilliant. That isn't. And the Castleford Tigers get a reprieve.
Here's Richardson. Inside for El Zakim. That's a good offload. Now it's Broadbent. Richardson again in that organisational role out of dummy half. We're going to be tested here. Horn. Westerman. 6 tackles to go. Miller with a short pass. It looked suspiciously forward. Tassipali will carry it on only by a yard or so. Horn picks up again. Here's Westerman. Now it's driven in by Lawler. 5 away from where they want to be. Horn. Richardson. He wants to duck and dive and almost rips a hole in that Wigan defence. Horn again. Now it's Miller. Back to Hooley. Hooley with a kick to the corner. The chase is on, but it's just about out of play before anyone gets a touch on that, and it will be a tap back on the 20.
Well, I tell you, Craig Lingard must have given his team, particularly his playmakers in Miller and Richardson, a fair bit of autonomy on the field, because that's 2 kicks in attacking positions on the 2nd and 3rd tackle.
They're going early with confidence.
We'll decide whether that's been misplaced full time.
I guess if you're a defending team, you're not expecting that element of surprise. If they keep doing it, you lose that element of surprise. But in these early stages, not quite worked out so far. O'Neill. It's a good step. Back on the inside again.
Yeah, double substitution from Wigan as well. two battering rams have left the field, and two more in Mago and Dupree have entered the fray.
And they've got Mike Cooper on the bench as well, haven't they? So they've got plenty of big boppers who can do the hard yards and do them effectively. Here comes Ellis, trying to get the arms free, but 4 defenders around, so he has to go down with ball in hand. O'Neill again. Remember, Cruz Leeming is lurking on the sidelines as well from when defences start to tire.
Good defensive read.
Well, there was an offload from Wardle, but it was on the last, I think, wasn't it? So he went for broke.
Well, it's a great defensive read either way by Gary Garrett. He's come in on his centre and he's secured the ball and dislodged the ball. That's great work from the young kid.
He enjoyed that moment, didn't he?
Well, I think this is the thing, is the criticism of him over the last maybe kind of year or so, is that everybody knew he had electric pace and a great finishing ability. I think the question marks were, as with a lot of young players, is just about that positioning and timing in defence. Well, I think, you know, he's partly answered that question there. There's a lot of improvement gone into his game recently.
Well, 20 minutes played very near. 2-2 the scoreline. And if there were some who thought this might be Wigan at a canter tonight, that is not the case at the moment. Castleford are playing with plenty of spirit here.
Absolutely. I mean, look, errors have played the part, and it's round one, so there'll be an element of rustiness for both teams. I am more surprised, I think, that the Wigan Warriors haven't found their groove, because this is largely an unchanged team, certainly in key positions. The Tigers, boy, they're giving licence, aren't they, to throw the ball around.
Well, Hooley's legs were lifted up in the air by Harry Smith. And by the strict letter of the law, it has to be a penalty. I don't think there was any real intent in this, was there, from the Wigan scrum half, but...
It's awkward. It's awkward. The legs are above the horizontal, so we start as a penalty. He's landed on his head. Now, this year, I think this may produce a card.
Well, again, the video referee will be having a look at this back in Wilmslow. And he'll be communicating with the referee on the field here.
It's a clumsy card, a clumsy tackle, and there's a potential for injury here.
Yeah, well, his head's in an awful position there, isn't it, when he's finally decked. He'll just be a little nervous, Harry Smith. Well, he's okay. That's the most important thing, and he looks fine.
Yeah.
The video referee interpreting this as a clear lift, and the head hits the ground. I tell you what, I think there might be a red card coming here, John.
There's a card of some colour. There's a card of some colour.
Yeah, I think feel it. Hurry!
Well, here we go. Tom Grant has a look. It's a yellow card. It's a yellow card. So 10 minutes in the sin bin for Harry Smith.
And I think that's, on balance, that's the right decision. I certainly think it's more than a penalty these days. There wasn't a high degree of force. There was a degree of danger. It's what mitigation you offer there for Harry Smith. And I suppose the fact that Luke Hooley's up. Yeah, Liam Farrell adds a tiny bit of weight there. It's just an awkward landing, isn't it? I think that's probably the correct outcome, and I think you can always tell from a player's reaction. Very little complaint from Harry Smith.
So he's away for 10 minutes. Castleford, with their penalty, have found great ground here, and they will sense an opportunity in this next set of 6 at the very least. And it's a fresh-ish pair of legs in Liam Watts, who drives them into their primary position. Liam Horn waits at dummy half. Miller's there in the middle. Wigan's defence moves out. Richardson, and it's not connected. It lands in the hands of Cade Ellis, and Wigan survive.
I was just about to say, 10 minutes against 12 players, good position. The key word there is patience. Do not try and score on the first play. The setup was great. I mean, I arguably should have gone out the back from Danny Richardson. The first ball was brilliant from dummy half. Cut out 2 or 3 defenders and set them up on that edge. Wasted opportunity from the Tigers.
So O'Neill inside to Mago. Mago somehow skips it away. Tyler Dupree will carry it inside the Castleford half. And Wigan looking to set themselves here with a man down. Just a big wrestle down the middle at the moment, isn't it? It's a night for a big wrestle down the middle. Heavy round the edges. So the heavy fellas down the middle are doing a lot of the work at the moment. French with a kick to the corner.
Smart kick. Really smart kick. You see there's an element of fatigue there despite that double substitution amongst some of his forwards. That's sensed, always sensed by a smart half, and takes the territory, takes the heat out of the game, burns 30 seconds. Smart play. Hasn't that transition been fantastic, by the way, from a match-winning fullback and winger to a match-winning standoff? But what a great transition.
The skills he's added in terms of being a pivot, not just a razzle-dazzle around the edges.
Yeah, and I think it takes real intelligence as well to be able to change and adapt, and not just on the fringes, but in a key position as well.
Tassapali up and plays. Watts will drive it on. Trying to get the arms free. He'll be enjoying this, you imagine, wouldn't you? Liam Watts, he looks like a player who relishes nights like this. Horn. Here's Westerman. Now they go wide. There was a hand there from Marshall, and I think it was an important hand, because I think if that had landed in the grasp of Gary, it would have been try time.
There's a blueprint. There's a real blueprint. You can see this. Craig Lingard has given license to this Tigers team to play, and I think, but for a little more depth. This is the thing we've got to talk about. Danny Maguire talked about this last night, and Sam Tompkins talking about the Salford edges. Salford love to play wide, love to try and strip players. The question was, do they have the quality this year to execute properly? Well, we're looking at a Tigers side here that have been given license to do the same. Jury's out still whether they can find the mark, because if they do, I think they could have a great deal of joy.
Well, Horn's enjoying himself in that role, isn't he? He's had a couple of little dashes from dummy half. Miller looking back towards the middle again, looking to see if there are any tiring bodies in there, any holes apparent, but it's one of the interchange men, Dupree, who gets there to make the tackle. Richardson inside the 10, the ball's gone free, the referee's got a judgment to make here, and he's given ball steal. Complaints from Liam Farrell, but it's a penalty for Cass.
Now, if there's a message here from the senior players, it's a foul. It's just a little cheeky strip from the right hand of Liam Farrell there. Yeah, correct decision. If there's a message here from the senior players in the field, it is just take our time. We don't need to score on play one, play two, set one. Spend time down this end of the field. And
they're going for goal again here.
Well, I suppose that's one way of doing it.
I'm not sure.
That surprises me.
Well, I'm not sure that was a decision made off the field by the coaches, because of the length of the time it's taken to get the tee on.
Yeah, it does surprise me. I think if there's any time when if they're trusting their attack to spin it wide in their own 40, then with a full set in the opposition 20 with an extra man in attack, But I'm not a coach, Dave. Craig Lingard is.
Maybe one day, John. Maybe one day. Wigan, of course, still down to that 12-man rota because of the sin bidding of Harry Smith, and Castleford looking to extend their lead or put themselves back in the lead here. Richardson has struck it well, and that's a beauty, an absolute beauty. Sails between the uprights. Second kick of the night for Richardson, and Castleford leading by 4 points to 2 with 25 minutes on the clock. I think they would have taken this before the night began.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Now this Wigan Warriors squad for 2024 on paper at least looked fearsome. The size, the agility, the speed, the experience, and lifting silverware always adds an extra 5 or 10% to someone between the ears. So I think the Castleford Tigers will be delighted at where they stand now.
Wigan have got a big date next week, of course, and just wonder how much that is on their minds tonight. And they will also remind themselves that this time last year they were playing at Hull Kingston Rovers and got beaten in that first round, and yet went through the rest of the season with a lot of success. So there's no panic at the moment for those in the sky blue. And it is still very much early stages in this game, but it is another penalty. Just hanging on too long, I think, and because it's at that end of the field, instead of being another set of 6 this year, we're seeing it as a penalty, which I think a lot of coaches are applauding that, aren't they?
Yeah, I think a lot of the tweaks, a lot of the rule changes that have been made in the off-season are a great deal of common sense about them. I think it's not just changes for change's sake. I think it makes the game a better spectacle.
Sam Wood with the tap, and he'll have a run. He'll have a go, will Sam?
Move, find the floor! Find the floor!
Again, he had a stuttering season last year because of a knee injury at Hull KR, so looking for a big campaign at his new club here. And Castleford are travelling effectively. Well, it's all a little untidy in the end.
Wigan ball, 20.
It's just that short pass, good line from Tassipali, just again the execution that's letting the Tigers down. Charbel Tassipali joined the Tigers towards the back end of 2020-23 in that kind of rearguard action when it was a Tigers Trinity trade-off, wasn't it, for who was going to drop.
He's keeping himself warm, he's getting himself ready to get back on here. But he's still got a 3 minutes wait before he does.
Got worried then, hold that line. Head in, head in. Get in now. Out!
Feels like a real throwback game here tonight, doesn't it? Castleford in the mud, almost. It looks green, but I tell you, that's a very heavy pitch they're playing on. And the dazzle potential of Cruz leaving on the field now. Out of dummy half for Wigan. Field. Just a big step back on the inside again. Dupree, 3 of them to hold him up and wrestle him down. Leaving's having a look round.
2 very different players as well, Cruz Leaving and Brad O'Neill. Brad O'Neill's your workhorse, the one who'll get through 50, 60 tackles a game. Great service from dummy half. This man's a runner, electric on the front foot, perhaps not as renowned for his defence. So whilst the Tigers have got a different challenge ahead of them, there's maybe an opportunity there as well.
It's a perfect combination, isn't it, at dummy half that Wigan have got this year, the way the game has evolved, in having that opportunity to switch the dummy halves. And this is going to be a penalty for Wigan.
Don't need it, mate. Don't need it.
And the customary Liam Watt shrug.
What me, sir?
What me, Rev? He's been doing that for 18 years.
Yes. What's that, Jack? It's all good, mate.
He's one of the old-timers now, isn't he? 33 years of age, Liam Watts, but he's a local lad through and through.
Well, now then. That's direct contact to the head and no attempt to wrap an arm. I think we may have something else here. Let's take another look at this challenge. It's Tyler Dupree who's contacted directly in the head with the shoulder of Liam Watts. Look, let's be frank, you can't do that anymore in this game. And there'll be a card here.
Well, there's a nice touch there because Tyler Dupree has just got up and he's shaken the hands of Liam Watts.
Doesn't matter.
No. This is a red card.
Liam Watts, yeah.
This is going to be a sending off. This is not a yellow.
Liam Watts.
Concern from Craig Lingard because I think he knows what's coming.
Mate, it's a direct shoulder to
Liam Watts has not been on the field long and now he's off for good. Well, a look of shock from Danny Maguire and Craig Lingard. But Liam Watts still complaining as well. But Castleford now are down to 12 for the rest of the game.
I honestly don't know what the complaints are for. I do not know what the complaints are for. You cannot do this in the modern game. The players know, they've been warned. That is a direct, forceful contact with the shoulder to the head. It's undebatable. That's as clear a red card as you will see.
Well, there have been cards aplenty this week, and there's the evidence. And we know why these new rules are being brought in.
For very good reason.
It's all about the health and safety of these rugby league players during their career and after their career. The game has got to go this way to keep players safe.
And by the way, these recommendations are brought in with consultation from stakeholders across the game. Players, coaches, officials.
Well, in the absence of Harry Smith, back in the sin bin, Adam Kieran gets the chance. Here's the bonus of having a player like Kieran. You lose one goal kicker, you've got another who can be just as effective. It's struck well. It's struck beautifully. First points of his Wigan career, Adam Kieran, and we're all square again at 4 points apiece with 29 minutes played.
Yeah, I think, for what it's worth, I think the referees have handled this well. I think Harry Smith, who's just about time up in the sin bin, I think that decision was correct. And I will also reiterate once again, regrettably for Liam, and I've known Liam for a long time, that style of play he's going to have to adapt and change pretty quickly, or he's not going to spend much time on the field, Dave.
There is an element of mitigation in that if he wasn't expecting the head to be where it was...
Well, it's the tackler's responsibility,
yeah,
Dave.
Yeah.
That's not a mitigation. You know, the tackler he has a duty of care there when he's going into the tackle. And by the way, it wasn't a tackle. That was direct shoulder contact.
Yeah.
And here we are now. That's an example of a secondary contact. So that is up off the ball. That's why no one's reaching for a card and no one's talking about it anymore. It's just a penalty.
Well, there are plenty of great rugby league players who've been terrific defenders who've gone through their entire careers without tackling high. So players have to get used to bending their backs, don't they? To get their technique correct. Leeming. Wigan advancing with a little bit of menace again here. Second half moving towards closure. There are still 9 minutes to go. Leeming. Here's French. Dummy shows goes, a little burst of electricity, but just about caught up with by those Castleford defenders. Leeming switches it back on the inside. French untidy, and it's gone to ground off Miski. The pass was hopeful. Both passes were hopeful. And Castleford have got a penalty as well as Wigan in their scramble find themselves offside.
Yeah, dangerous position for the Tigers to be in. The pass executed wasn't good enough from Bevan French. Miski tried to pick it up off his toes, and then an offside decision. Marker's not square. I think the penalty was for marched upfield for the Tigers, who get themselves back in the right end of the field again. Now, teams these days, Dave, are reasonably well equipped to work with 12 men. This is not a massive ground, it's not a wide ground by any stretch of the imagination, and certainly the conditions are not built for wide, expansive rugby as well. The red card may not be the catastrophe that Tigers fans think it is at present.
Take out one of their powerful players down the middle, doesn't it? And up against this Wigan pack, you'd want as many powerful players as you could possibly get. Here's Gary. Richardson. Now Westerman. Horn. Miller again. Fighting on the run of Tassipali, but the ball spilled and Wigan can clear their lines through field. Here's Marshall. That's another penalty. It's pointed at Liam Horn, who's apologised to his teammates for giving that away. I think Joe Westerman just pointed to his head as if to say, you need to be thinking about this fella.
Let's go.
Second effort. That's his second effort there. That's what the penalty's been given for. And I think as soon as he got up, Liam Horn knew he was in the wrong there. Just a yank at the leg when the tackle was already complete. Leeming. Here comes Mega. Leeming moving up to that position again of power to choose which way his side will go. And a head down and drive by Cooper. Wigan are less than 20 away. It's Smith. Castleford's defence holding tight at the moment, but they are being tested here. Leeming looks left. Here comes Field, and now it's Farrell, and Farrell with a spin, and boy, did it take some effort from that recovering Cass defence to keep him out. He loves the goal line, does Liam Farrell, but he can't find it on that occasion. It bounces it down. It has been touched down. The referee will have a look. He's going to go to the video ref, but I think Mago's claiming this. He looks confident, and the soft signal is try on the field.
The only question is onside, offside from the point of the kick. The kick did ricochet for Castleford Tigers player. It's a smart little
Tackle
kick
5
from dummy half.
Got a try on field. We don't know. Tackle 5 got a try on field. Just checking onside, offside. Camera 4 first. Ball on foot. This player to the right is onside. Running through. Checking on this pickup now. That appears to all be fine. Just go something closer in on this. Camera 2 will probably be my best option on this. Just go through on that. It's missed. And the ball is grounded. Thank you. I've made my decision.
Well, it ain't going to be the prettiest try you see all season, but it is going to be given. Listen for the reaction to this. It'll split the crowd in terms of emotion. But Patrick Mago with the score, and Wigan have the lead. It is the first try of the night.
Yeah, it's a really, really tough pick-up attempt from the Castleford Tigers. It's a low, squirming kick from dummy half. The tackle previously on Farrell was great, wasn't it? But it's leaning out of dummy half, soft little right foot kick, and it's just a bounce of a ball that eludes Hooley, I think it is, who's in that full-back position. There's not an awful lot you can do with that. It's just one of those things. Mago goes through, and he won't be bothered. It's from 3 inches. They all count the same. Mago gets his name on the scoreboard. 8 points to 4. Kick to come.
It's very much a try for the conditions, isn't it? That. So Harry Smith back on the field and back with the kicking duties. Wigan with a man advantage, and now with a scoreboard advantage, and looking to extend it to 6 points, which they do. Cas 4, Wigan 10. Mago the scorer. It's a reasonably satisfied coaching bench at the moment.
Well, there's plenty to be positive about from a Tigers point of view. I think they've reacted pretty well to the send-off. I've been saying right from the start of this game, I don't see too many chinks in this defensive armour for the Tigers, certainly in terms of their positioning. When you come and you have so many new personnel, different coaching philosophy, different culture, defence is the hardest thing to get right. Attack everybody wants to do. Getting defensive coordination is tough, and I think they've looked pretty resilient in the fact that the only try they've conceded so far has been a squirmy, unlucky bounce. I think, bizarrely, Craig Lingard won't be getting too hot under the collar about that.
Evan French leading the charge in that first play, and now the big forwards getting involved on the second and third. Here's Leeming with a punt downfield at a dummy half. I think he might have been behind the 40, but that's irrelevant because the ball's not going anywhere near the touchline. But that is a terrific kick to put Castleford on the back foot, because the chase is good too, and Cass have to start from there.
Yeah, great kick, even better chase, and Chase does one as well. And a knock-on to boot as well. In a rush to play the ball, played incorrectly, and now the pressure's right back on the Tigers. Again, another rule this season: the player must make a genuine attempt to play the ball with his foot.
Yeah.
That's a step over. And the players have been. We've been around a number of coaches in the off-season. You know, it's been central to a lot of the training sessions. They've all had time working on that. Sometimes when fatigue sets in, Dave, you revert back to type.
As you can see, it is a controlled handover, and that's why Wigan find themselves in this position. And here's Leeming, looking right. The big effort again comes from Dupree. Castleford, the odds are stacked against them at the moment. It's not going their way, but can they hold out here? Smith puts it back in the middle again. Mago is just held up, but well, the referee's right on the spot and has decided that was stolen. Looked as though it might have been mishandled, but the referee was right there.
There's just too much going on in the ruck at the moment.
It's a tough angle for us to make a judgment, but the referee clearly had clear vision. Leeming's got to take the tap. Wigan want the 6. Not interested in the 2. They'll feel like they've got Cass on the back foot here, under pressure. Leeming. Big effort again from Dupree. Just about held on to all that determination in attack and defence. Leeming now, looking towards his left-hand side. Cooper on the dummy run. Smith throws it back. Hold of position by Field to take that ball, and Wardle, man of the match in that grand final last year, held up short. Marshall stands and waits again. Now Wigan go asking a few questions on the other side of the field. That's a flat pass and an effort here from Mago. Mago gets it away, and from there there's no stopping Bevan French. The invitation was clear. French is over to score. Wigan have their second back-to-back tries, and Castleford now really under the pump.
Yeah, that's brilliant finishing work from Bevan French, but credit Patrick Mago for the build-up play. They've gone from left to right, something the Wigan Warriors do better than a lot of sides in Super League. They'll shift for a shift, so they'd move to the left and then straight away back into formation. Mago rides a tackle, and then out the back to the supporting Bevan French, who finishes in the corner. But it's where it comes from in the play before, so the play before they'd hit the left edge, and it's the quickness with which these players regroup and reposition themselves. I think they're head and shoulders above any other team in Super League at going play for play, and you can see that. Great positioning, great change of tempo from Harry Smith. Mago rides a tackle. Bevan French, easy as you like.
Henry Smith with a kicking tee again here. Well, Wigan's recent form against Castleford has been terrific. They've won their last 7 games against the Tigers. They just have a bit of a hold on tonight's opponents. Smith will take his time, all the time in the world. Quite as cheeky as Mark Sneed last night. I don't know if you saw that, but moved his kicking tee about 4 or 5 times when it was a kick right in front of the sticks, just to make sure the referee stopped the clock for a minute. So here's Smith, left-footed, strikes it well. Has he got all the angles right? You bet he has. You bet he has. Castleford 4, Wigan 16. It's a damp and dark night, but there's a bit of daylight between these two sides now.
Yeah, it's 16 points to 4. I think Matt Peake will be pretty happy with his half's work. They were played conservative for quite a long period of that time. Repetitive stuff for some. Finishing sets, getting to the end of sets, putting balls in corners, but it's worked.
Well, the hooter will sound. The boos, you suspect, are directed towards the referee. But those decisions made, and Wigan have taken advantage, and they lead by 16 points to 4. And they're very much in the driving seat here. Bevan French with a second of those tries. A little grouping together. But they'll be happy with their night's work so far.
Yeah, absolutely. That lovely little change of...
Well, we know what's happening here, but what's happening in the south of France tonight? Big game there as well. It is half-time, and they've still got an element of sunshine there. Catalan 6, Warrington 4, the half-time score. Jordan Abdul, a try-scorer for Catalan. Lindop for Warrington, but all very tight in that match so far. Not quite as tight in this game. Castleford 4, Wigan 16. Those 2 tries for Wigan in the last 5 minutes of the half is making a difference. John Wells, the story of that first half.
Well, the story of the first half revolves around the referee's back pocket, unfortunately, as the players in Super League are getting used to these different interpretations of the rules, and for good reason as well, I'll reiterate. Hooley upended by Harry Smith on the 21st minute. The score's 2 points apiece at that point. Fortunately, from a Wigan Warriors perspective, from a Castleford Tigers perspective, Luke Hooley not injured. Unfortunately, from a Wigan Warriors perspective, they conceded only 2 points whilst down to 12 men and Harry Smith off the field. And then came, well, certainly in the eyes of the Castleford coaches, the more contentious issue. I don't have any such issues with this. I think that's a direct, forceful contact with the head, and in the modern game, in the new interpretations, regardless of the handshakes, that is a red card and the correct decision for me. Then came the tries. There was a little bit of consternation there from the Tigers coaches. The first one from Mago, scruffy, but a nice little feathered kick from Cruz Leeming, the hooker who came on, the more creative of the two options that the Wigan Warriors have. Mago dots down, and then the try of the half for me, which came 3 minutes before the half-time. And this is what I meant about shift for shift. So it's moving from the right-hand stick, left, players in shape, challenging that Castleford Tigers right edge. And then look at the right-hand side of your screen. Cruz Leeming already in position at first receiver and challenging immediately the other channel, the other edge of the field. I think that puts an awful lot of pressure, an awful lot of decision-making, thinking, reorganising for the Castleford Tigers defence. The Wigan Warriors do it well. They're well drilled, and it was well executed on this occasion. Take a look at that change in tempo from Harry Smith. He's so good at that. And then Mago rides a couple of tackles and finds Bevan French to make the score 16 points to 4 at half-time. And probably a fair reflection, David, that first 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was really tight, wasn't it, for the opening 30 minutes or so, 4 points apiece. But as you can see from the timing of those Wigan tries, the damage really done when Castleford down to 12 men, and Mago and French both getting over that whitewash and leading by 16 points to 4. Way back for Cass in the second half?
Well, there is a way back, because I haven't seen major problems with that defensive outfit for the Castleford Tigers. I think just a little bit of fatigue and some really good attacking play from Wigan towards the end of the half. I think the issue they've got is an attack, isn't it, and being a little bit more ruthless with the ball, and they're going to find that difficult with a man down.
It's a wet and soggy night in Castleford, but Castleford need to lift their spirits. Wigan striking twice, close to the half-time hooter. It means that Castleford have got it all to do in the second half, which is coming next.
The fly is the giant, the champion, turn on the siren. Roars, the billis, adrenaline, I know you feel it. How much do you want it, so come and get it. Everybody know we here when that rhythm hit them. The race is on, shoes lace, game face is on. It's going down, we came around.
This is the one trophy that Penrith haven't got in their cabinet.
That is going to be a real I was there moment next week, but you can't get there if you've not got a ticket, because it's been a sellout for several weeks. So the next best place to be is right here on Sky Sports on Action and Main Event. It all starts, our build-up at 7:30 next week, Wigan against Penrith. It is going to be epic. We cannot wait for that. A fantastic occasion. It's a decent enough occasion here tonight, and I'm sure they're enjoying the events in the Catalan heartlands, because the Catalan Dragons leading by 6 points to 4 at half-time.
Yeah, they weren't the first to score, though, on the 16th minute. Ball spread to the right-hand side, went through the hands of Drinkwall. Have a look at this from Connor Wrench. Lovely rider tackle, ball out, and Lindop scores in the corner. They couldn't convert that one. And then the infamous left boot of Jordan Abdul. What a signing he's been, and a surprise signing he's been. Is the beneficiary and scores the try for the Catalan Dragons, converted 6 points to 4 to the home team.
What a night for Aaron Lindop, by the way. He's only 17 years of age, isn't he? He's a Warrington lad. You could see by his squad number 33. He's not exactly first pick, but he has got a try, and that will be something he will remember for a long, long time, I'm sure. Castleford 4, Wigan 16, the scoreline here. The damage done, the real damage done in terms of that scoreline. In the last 5 minutes, 2 tries back-to-back, Mago and French. has given Wigan a real advantage, and that blob of red on the Castleford side of things. Oh, there's Lee Crooks, by the way. Great to see Lee. But that blob of red means that Castleford are down to 12 men for the whole of this second half. Liam Watts having been sent off, and that's a damaging thing, isn't it?
Yeah, the reality is you're going to see a few of these over the opening 2 or 3 weeks of the season, as the players have been working on this in the off-season. There's a number of adjustments and changes in interpretation. I'll say again, and I'll never get bored of saying this, for the good of the health of the players of the game. The hope is that the players and everybody buys into the fact this, and the changes are going to be made and the adaptations are going to be made on the field to deal with these new rule interpretations. As it stands, the Tigers, as you said, Dave, down to 12 men. It was a hard enough task against 13. A task, I will say, they were performing admirably, though, the Tigers. I think with 12, this is going to be an uphill battle in the second half.
It's 11 matches on the bounce in Super League that Wigan have won. 10 matches in total. You have to go back to that semi-final, that epic semi-final against Hawkington Rovers in the Challenge Cup last year. The last time Wigan were on the losing side of things. And Castleford know they've got a real battle in this second half now.
And they've not lost in Super League football. I was reading these in the notes earlier today, since early July last year. I mean, what a phenomenal effort for that. And that breeds confidence and belief as well, doesn't it? As well as having world-class talent in your team. That also helps.
And you might have... Well, the referee and the touch judges are getting booed as they come back out. Tom Grant. You might have given them a bit of a get out of a tight situation card, Wigan, because they might at the back of their minds have that World Club Challenge next week, but there's not been any evidence of that.
No, I don't think. I think that's a commentators and pundits putting words into players' mouths. I think when players cross that white line, they are professionals and ultimate athletes, and they're concerned with the task at hand, which is starting the Super League season with a bang.
Hooley with a kick-off, Marshall with a catch and a carry. And here we go again, blood and thunder for the next 40 minutes. Can Castleford find a way back into this? Or do Wigan ease towards an opening night victory in this first weekend of the Betfred Super League in 2024? Answers right here. It's Wigan at the moment having to do some hard yards from deep inside their own territory. Leeming starting this second half on the field in that dummy half roll as well. There's Cooper with a catch and a carry. Big effort from him. Leeming will kick. He's being chased hard by Bevan French. I think the referee just gave him a bit of a call there that he was offside, so he just held up that chase, but Wigan still get there in numbers and quickly.
Yeah, we're talking about the Castleford Tigers and how they respond. I think the next 10 minutes are crucial for them. They don't need to score in this next 10 minutes, but I do think they need to be the next team to score.
Yeah, score next is massively important, isn't it? The gap at the moment is 12 points. I say just 12 points, but it's only a couple of scores. Get one back and suddenly self-belief comes flooding back. But if they find themselves 3 scores behind, suddenly that hill gets much, much bigger. Here's Horn at dummy half. There's 4 of them on the right-hand side, including Richardson and, of course, including El Zakim, who runs into a posse of Wigan defenders. And they're on the last as well here. Last play, Westerman all the way to Miller. Miller puts boot on ball. It's always going to be testing on a night like this, but in fact it wasn't testing for Miski, who throws away the first defender and grabs himself an extra yard or 2.
Yeah, it's just a little too shallow, and Abbas Miski able to take that ball uncontested.
There's Marshall.
And this is very much an underrated part of the Wigan Warriors game, just that willingness to work, roll your sleeves up, get out of danger, really take some pressure off the forwards, and then a lovely kick downfield, and they're going to trap the Castleford Tigers on or around the 20-metre mark. Good opening set.
Some concern at the moment about Luke Thompson as well, who's off the field and has been having an HIA. The desperate Wigan that he passes that, given what's happening in a week's time.
Well, the new rules say that if that does come back as a fail, he will miss the World Club Challenge. So there'll be fingers crossed, I would imagine, across the borough at the moment.
That would be a huge blow for him personally, you would have thought as well, given the time he spent in the NRL this last couple of years. He'd be wanting to prove a point or 2 maybe against the NRL champions, but that is out of his hands at the moment. Here's Westerman. Zakim finding a bit of support out there from Broadbent, whose kick picks up the path of field.
No, it's good work from the Tigers. Got to the end of a set, or fourth tackle. Wigan in the corner. I think El Zakim's going to be a real crowd favourite. I like the way he moves. I like the way he moves across the field. Reminds me a bit of Callum Watkins, I think. You know, the sort of the frame, the good line running.
They signed him from the Roosters, didn't they? He was a Roosters player, but he spent most of last year with the North Sydney Bears. I don't think he had a game in the NRL, El Zakim, so he's another of those who come from the NRL, ostensibly, with maybe a point to prove back home as well. So
yeah, the Tigers have really plundered that Queensland Cup and New South Wales Cup. They've looked just a level below the NRL, and I think they've potentially unearthed a couple of gems there.
Talking about gems, the catch there is from Gary, but Wigan know his threat, so quickly attend to the situation. Looking for a bit of width here, Miller. Step and a turn. But again, two men make sure that he's not going to travel too far before he finds himself on his flat on his back. Senior. Still some distance to travel to find themselves in an attacking position here. Mustafa with a big drive for him. Westerman on this left-hand side. It's now with Miller. Miller puts it back to Hooley. But decent read and a good tackle from Kieran, who gets in hard. He's back with Hooley. Last play. Miller sends it up, end over end, spinning away. But the ground is covered well by Jay Field, and he's immediately looking for Marshall to turn that into more of an attacking position. But Gary's there again, solid in defence, and he's got a penalty for his side as well here. I think he stepped off the mark here, did he?
Well, I don't think he had any option to step off the mark. He was knocked 5 metres off the mark by the tackle. Take a look at that for a shot. I mean, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that.
What's he given that penalty for? Anyway, Castleford aren't complaining because they have an opportunity here. And suddenly there's a bit of ground to work in. El Zakim with the initial carry. Liam Watts out for the night, back in the tracksuit, freshly showered, can only watch on as it's taken close by Mustafa. This is Horn now. Horn back towards the middle. Wigan's defence is working hard. The offload is good. It's taken by Liam Horn, and Horn's hunting that goal line, but he ain't going to get there. He ain't going to get there. So Richardson has to be patient here to collect from the feet. Westerman reaches, can't grab a hold, and Castleford give up. Well, I was going to say give up the situation, but the referee said it's gone backwards. So Tessie Parley rescues that for Cass. Dummy shown by Westerman. Now he's lost the ball again, and Wigan do have it this time. Couple of handling errors, and already there's a threat here as Field will just give a little bit of a dash down that left-hand side.
Yeah, just a little bit of loose rugby from the Castleford Tigers. They're going to get very, very few looks at this end of the field in the second half. Just a loose carry from Joe Westerman. Plenty of Wigan Warriors players providing pressure in the tackle. And that's what you get from Cruz Leeming. Electric out of dummy half. He looks to have picked up a little bit of a knock though in that tackle. Referee blows time off. And it's a low ankle injury for Cruz Leeming. And another concern for the Wigan Warriors. Because, as you said before, it's a real point of difference there. Two very, very different style hookers in Brad O'Neill and Cruz Leeming. Brad O'Neill, I think, earned his right as a starter by his performances, certainly in the second half of the 2023 season. And that looks a little painful for Cruz.
It's a bit of a down-to-earth with a bump night tonight, isn't it, Cruz Leeming? He spent last year with the Gold Coast. Surfers Paradise or Castleford, John? What's your preference?
Well, I'm biased, so... I've never been to Surfers Paradise, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Yeah, it's the left ankle, just gets caught underneath the tackle from Muaz Mustafa. Just an awkward one. Nothing wrong with the tackle. These things happen. It's a contact sport. But he's uncomfortable.
He's okay, though. He's going to carry on here. So Harry Smith It has been given as a penalty. Lee Smith will put that out of play. And he has given his side a terrific position to start from here.
Time off. Get that ball off there.
Smith, and here comes Farrell.
One. Move, pull
But they've got
back.
5 plays to go here. And they're looking a little smart at the moment as Cooper
Two.
carries it in.
Move back.
Leeming's still hobbling. A little bit of a limp. But he'll move it left. It's with Field. Field with a little jiggle of the hips, but not bought by that Castleford defence.
And the setup right here, Dave.
Going deep on this right-hand side. It's Mego who carries it in. It's French who chimes in. Kieran just spinning away from one tackle, but he didn't get the chance to look for Miski on his right-hand side. Instead, he stopped 5 away. So into the play comes Willie Isa. Now it's with French. Now it's with Mego. Mego's sought out by El Sakib. It didn't stick, but plenty of those in support in defence. And Leeming stands and waits again, and here comes the final play, and Leeming's going to have a short play, and a heavy hit by Dupree. Well, he'll hand the ball over there. Wigan are not going to be too disconsolate about that, are they? Because Castleford are going to start from that position.
No, and when you're 12 points down and you're a man down, you've got to try and find confidence and belief from somewhere. Well, that set will have been a real shot in the arm for the Tigers. They defended a really smart shift play to the right, really good defensive read from Samwood in the centres. Signed as a centre, I mean, he's played all over the place, Samwood. He's played, taken a hit up now, he's played on the wing, he's played in the back row for Hull KR, now playing his trade as a centre and a starting centre, and came up with a really good read, and then backed that up with some stern defence in the middle.
It's a good little scoop by Horn. But a bit more distance between his side and the line they're defending at the moment. They need to get down to the other end, and quickly. Broadbent. Wigan moving up smartly on this right-hand side. Castleford venturing closer towards that halfway line. Richardson again. Hooley's involved. Step back on the inside here from Broadbent. Inside Wigan's half, but with only 1 play to go. So you'd expect a kick here from Richardson, who's under a little bit of pressure there from Smith. Smith got to him quickly. Richardson stayed down. The referee immediately says play on, and here comes Field. And Castleford give up possession in not the best position they would have hoped for.
There was pressure on the kick, and it was legitimate pressure as well on Danny Richardson. It was a slow play, the ball. The Wigan Warriors were set, and that's good harassment from Harry Smith. Nothing wrong with that.
This all gets a little slow again in the stickiness of that pitch as Wardle takes it in for Wigan. We haven't seen any long-range distance, have we, from attacking players on either side. We know we've got pace on both sides of the field, but it has been close in. And the 2 tries we've seen so far have been manufactured. This is French. Now it's with Miski. Prolific in the second half of last season, Abbas Miski. Helped himself to 5 tries against Castleford in those late stages as well. It's moved left, Wardle with a pass, Marshall with a step back on the inside, and Marshall makes it look easy. It is a 3rd Wigan try. Just unpicking that Castleford defence on the fringe. And those Wigan fans are fairly confident now that their side are in line for an opening win.
Well, Liam Marshall opens his account for 2024, but he's got Joe Wardle to thank. Joe Wardle is a really, really classy player. Take a look at Jake Wardle on the edge here. Again, a lovely change of tempo from Harry Smith, but lovely catch and pass under pressure from Jake Wardle. And then Liam Marshall, the consummate finisher. I think what undoes that Tigers defence, you know, apart from that beautiful pass under pressure in defence from Jason Gary, is that lovely change in tempo from Harry Smith. I think he's becoming a pass master at that. You do that at full flight, you allow defenders to slide off. Just this change in tempo and then a beautiful catch and pass. They're really, really hard to execute those because you know your ribs are exposed, you know you're going to be vulnerable, and you're going to take one for the benefit of somebody else. It's brilliant, brilliant play from Jake Wardle and Liam Marshall. First try on the board for Super League for 2024. Great finish.
Well, again, there's not a lot of emotion being expressed there, is there? But be very happy with what they're seeing at the moment. Quite the same on the other side of the field in the coach's box, with the Castleford colours being displayed. Well, Lingard hoping for a winning start tonight, but it's not looking great at the moment.
I think there are some cases where you doff your cap to the opposition. As hard as that is, I think, you know, I don't think anybody's sat there screaming at a particular Castleford Tigers defender that's done much wrong. You can complain about the short barge over from Patrick Mago in the first half. I think that one is, albeit against a man down in the front line in defence, I think that's a really well worked, really well executed try with great contributions from that man and a brilliant try assist from Jake Wardle.
Well, it's 2 out of 2 so far to Harry Smith, but he's not going to add to that tally. But Wigan still in the driving seat here by a distance, thanks to that try from Liam Marshall.
And it's that, just with Harry Smith slowing it down, that sits defenders on the heels. And then again, another change of tempo out wide. Lovely catch and pass. And Liam Marshall over in the corner. He's had a torrid time as Liam over the last month. And those of you who will know what a character and what character he has shown to get himself upright, facing the right way and contributing to his team.
As you say, Jake Wardle, he was a man of the match in the grand final last year, as we mentioned earlier, which of course will be the Rob Burrow Award this next year, and in perpetuity after that. What a fantastic decision that has been by the RFL. Applauded all round. But Jake Wardle, man of the match last year, and he's been on the radar as a superstar player for some time, hasn't he? Melbourne wanted him about 6-7 years ago to try and take him over there.
Yeah, I just don't think he got the service he needed. He didn't get the early ball he needed at Huddersfield. I think this Wigan side is made for him.
Well, they're threatening to express themselves even more here. The kick back on the inside. No sign of an ankle injury now from Cruz Leeming. The footwork is impeccable. And Wigan again have hit them twice in quick succession. Although we are going to a video referee here. Tom Grant. Soft signal try, but this just needs a second look.
It's tackle 3, we've got a try. We're checking onside offside, so it'll be camera 4 will be our first angle for onside offside, the wide angle. It's free from now. We'll pause this on the foot. Pause this on the foot off Miski. Just have both feet behind the ball. The ball's outstretched, and the on-field decision is he is onside on this, so we'll run this through. We'll back out of that, and camera 9 might be our best one for grounding. So we're happy at this point. That's kicked on. He chases his own kick. Just check he picks this ball up cleanly. That ball's picked up cleanly, and the ball is grounded. Thank you, I made my decision.
Well, I'll tell you what, really, really well done, Cruz Leeming, because that's not an easy pickup. In those conditions, you wait, when you hear the ball in the clear like that, you wait for the ball to bounce up. And as the try is confirmed, you look at Cruz Leeming's, first of all, the kick on, and then in every rugby player's mind, you're waiting, come on, bounce, bounce, lift the ball, lift the ball. It's a real skill, that, to bounce, to catch a ball and take a ball at full flight on the half volley. It was taken down the short side. And again, the pace from Bevan French causes problems for that Tigers defence. Miski with a kickback on the inside. Kick on, but that is really, really, it's a hard skill. Really well executed by Cruz Leeming. And who knew that Abbas Miski had a kick at him like that?
Great footwork all around, wasn't it? From winger to try scorer. Leeming celebrates. Wigan are on their way. And Cruz Leeming salutes those Wigan supporters as Harry Smith adds the 2. And Wigan suddenly find themselves almost in the blink of an eye. It was 2 tries in 4 minutes in the first half. It's 2 tries in 4 minutes in the second half. And they are taking this game away from Castleford now.
Yeah, they've just stepped it up a gear, and you can see Bevan French playing on the front foot is a completely different proposition, terrorised his defences. And almost a natural reaction when you've got someone coming at you at pace, and you know he's one of the fastest players in Super League. You're wary of the step, you're wary of the change in direction. The natural reaction there is to slow down yourself, and that it kind of plays into his hands because he has more time.
So how do Castleford play out this next 25 minutes then? What do they do to give themselves a bit of hope here?
well, stem the flow for a start. I think, starts here, doesn't it? It's good contact initially, it's restricted meters, and then it's building back into a game. I think the idea that they're going to go on and win this now is probably, a lost cause. I don't think they'd come out on top in this game. But this is a long season. This is round one. This is a side that has been rebuilt. So you gain confidence from little moments like that, where you don't fall for Bevan French's magic tricks.
And I guess this is where Craig Lingard is going to find out a lot of things about his players. He's had them in pre-season, but here they find themselves with their backs against the wall. This is where character is formed, isn't it? And where character displays itself.
Yeah, the saying goes, you find an awful lot more about your players in defeat than you do in victory. Although you don't want too many examples of that if you want to challenge at the right end of the table.
Learn enough now. Can we start winning games, please? Well, Castleford get a bit of good fortune there, because the boot of Harry Smith was not as effective as he would have hoped it was going to be. He's rather gifted possession back here, and in his senior will take it on a stride or two. Cass desperate to get themselves back down the other end of the field with ball in hand. They've not even been in that position for a while. But here's Gary. But Wigan have got him marshalled well. Very well.
This isn't a consideration for tonight for the Tigers.
Penalty for Castleford.
But this is something that a new group of players, large new group of players, under a new coach with a new philosophy, have been asked to play and behave in a certain way. If they carry on through rounds 2, 3, 4 and 5 and don't start getting the results in the way that they've been training, the way they've been asked to play, then that's when you've got problems, I think. That's when you start to lose a dressing room. So whilst it's not perhaps, alarm bells in round 1, it can't be. They've got to stick to the plan, stick to this culture, stick to this idea that they're going to play rugby.
Here's Miller. Quick hands. Finds itself left to Senior. Senior searching for the mid-path, but finding only Wigan defenders. Sipali at dummy half. Miller again. Castleford in really good position here, in good shape in this set of 6. Can they turn it into much-needed points? It's a very, very slow play the ball. Broadbent, which gives Wigan's defence the chance to come up quicker than they might have done. El Zakim. Penalty for Castleford. Offside against Wigan.
Back foot, Harry. Back foot.
So another set of 6 to have a go. But how effective can they be? Can they give themselves a little bit of self-confidence here by piercing this Wigan armour? There's the platform. 5 to go. Fairly central. Broadbent. Delivers it left. Dummy throw by Westerman. Switch of the point of attack. It's taken on by Richardson, but stumbling to the ground as Wigan defenders meet him like for like. He's claiming a touch of the head there from one of those defenders. The referee again says play on. It's taken on by El Zakim, and they're there in numbers. They're trying to get him out of play, but El Zakim is very strong there, does well. Gary waits. Where's the ball gone? It's a knock on. El Zakim left the ball on the floor, and the referee says he lost control with any undue influence from a Wigan defender. Yeah,
there's a lot of bodies in and around there, and it is the ball carrier's responsibility to regain his feet in possession. So, correct call, I think. When teams talk about detail, we hear detail, don't we, as a single word term. I think you can expand that. What we mean is attention to detail. In specific incidences like that, you've got good position, you've got tackles in the bank, and your attention to detail in regaining your feet in possession when it's your responsibility. That's where they're letting themselves down at the moment.
Head in. Get in now. Out.
So Wigan, hard yards to do again. And they are, of course, missing Luke Thompson because of that head injury tonight, but we've just been informed he has failed his HIA, which means he's out for the night, but he's also out for next week as well. That is confirmed now. Luke Thompson will miss that World Club Challenge event against Penrith next week?
Well, two things. One, that's personally devastating for Luke Thompson. The second thing, which tempers the first, I think, a little, is that the Wigan Warriors are so blessed in terms of big, aggressive, capable middles that perhaps that's not the disaster for the team as a whole and the organisation. For Luke, yes, that's going to be really frustrating sitting on the sidelines. For the Wigan team and Wigan squad, I think they're more than capable of filling that hole.
Penalty here for Castleford because it connected with the head from Brad O'Neill.
Good, yeah. Let's go, pal, let's go. Look, we need to go next.
Penalty only, no cards.
Is that enough as it is?
So it's a Brad O'Neill returning to the field for Cruz Leeming. We're hoping that's going to be a precaution. It is strapped, but he doesn't look in too much discomfort, so maybe a precaution more than anything else, Dave.
No need to risk in the game situation, is there, with Wigan in control at the moment.
Move together, Brad!
And with that big event next week, to remind you, you can see that right here on Sky Sports. This time next week, we will be rejoicing in the atmosphere and the occasion.
Hold! Go to Willie! Willie Isa!
Broadbent to Miller.
Okay,
and here's Richardson. And now it's taken on again by El Zaki.
Move, man, Cooper! Line! Off the lever first!
Broadbent motors into dummy half position. Castleford crowd just getting behind their side at the moment. The kick through is picked up by Lawler. 2 plays to go. Richardson looking left. Miller with a skip and a step, but runs into a brick wall, but somehow finds a door in that brick wall and gets that ball away. But Wigan are hanging on. Wigan are hanging on. Hooley's pushed out of the way as Broadbent takes over at dummy half. And it's through the hands of Wood.
It's a knock on first.
And down to the ground, and Wigan get the ball back.
Yeah, just a little bit desperate from the Tigers. Opted for a short side play on the last tackle.
Get the marks in tight, please, Marcus.
You know, I think if Miller or Richardson had the time again there, you look to roll that in and try and get a repeat set, try and have another crack, try and organise an attack. It's all looked a little bit frantic, a little bit disconnected in attack.
So here comes Miski, looking to lead Wigan on a path downfield, but actually almost pushed back to where he started. Some bruising stuff to be done here on both sides. Kieran,
how would you assess the kind of first hour from the Warriors? I'm just trying to think about their performance leading into next week. I think you safely say this game is in the bag. Yeah, it's a tune-up. They haven't exactly set the world on fire this evening, have they? But it's been a competent performance.
and they've got it in the bag as well. That is an advantage they have over the Panthers next week, isn't it? They've had a competitive game, a truly competitive game. So it'll just harden a few souls. So where's he going here, Gary Garrick? Not too far as it happens.
Move, pull back. Hold on, step back, step back, step back.
Richardson, arms outstretched, wants to get on with it.
Move square.
Wigan will be desperate to defend as well, won't they? They've conceded 4 tonight, but they've only conceded penalties. If they can stop Castleford getting over the goal line, they will consider that a huge plus as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that, you know, just conceded 4 points from the boot of Danny Richardson, but also 12 missed tackles in over an hour of rugby, of top flight rugby. That's, you know, that's a good omen.
There's Marshall. Just testing them out a little. Josh Semu's on the field. He's across to make that tackle. Wardle standing but unable to offload.
Move, find me.
O'Neill. Farrell's lining himself up here to join in that forward motion. 3 tackles to go, Wigan. 10 metres or so inside that Castleford half. And now they move wide, and here's Bevan French, and now Jay Field, and on the angle Kieran can't keep hold of the pass. Castleford have it back, and suddenly they can offer a threat with Hooley. But Bevan's back to do the defensive work.
They're back in, he can have them 0.
Here's Wood, Sam Wood.
Move back! Hold. Go on.
Broadbent.
2.
Flattered forward again here by Nixon. Put.
Hold. Go to.
Wood.
Liam Byrne.
Miller.
3. Move squarely and Farrell.
Broadbent again striding over there.
Hold.
In that dummy half roll in the absence of Liam Hall just at the moment. Miller again. Hooley.
4. Move. Hold.
And Nixon put the Papua New Guinean prop forward. Back to Miller. Miller with a step and seeks. And back to Put. And Put pushes off French. And Castleford keep it alive here. Now it's with Richardson. Now they move right. And El Zakim straightens up.
No, don't go in.
Wigan's defence working hard. Taming the Lebanese international on that occasion. Richardson puts the kick towards the corner. Oh, and it's taken well by Field, but he looks as though he's got a little bit of pain for his troubles. Well, this is a concern for Wigan.
Against the Warriors, you've got to be absolutely pinpoint with your kicks. That was what, 30 centimetres too deep. It was just sat in the in goal. I think with the guys in the backfield, with the speed that they've got, the kicks have got to be absolutely on the money. You know, it's an awkward fall. Luke Hooley's gone through challenging for the ball.
Shot clock's off, mate, bro.
You know, the ideal place for that is just 30 centimetres inside the field, so Luke Hooley's got a chance of taking that one on the full. In his senior stats, the set for the Tigers. I'm interested to see what the setup's going to be like, play 3, play 4. You expect Jacob Miller, Danny Richardson to be organising. They've not played an awful lot of rugby together. Good offload. Miller across, shows the ball twice, out to Richardson, fakes underneath, ball out the back, and Luke Hooley again. Ball goes forward, and it's another case of push passes, too flat, if anything, from Luke Hooley. He'd give himself another metre or so in terms of depth. The build-up play was nice. It's a good read from Marshall, but I think a little bit deeper as a fullback there. You've got a chance for a catch and pass.
Marshall's in with a shoulder.
You know the Warriors are aggressive. You know they will always come in hard from the edges, particularly Wardle and Marshall. Give yourself the depth you need.
Get in. Go in now. Ouch!
They'll be keen for more. Cade Ellis. It's a clattering effort forward again here from Liam Byrne.
He's been so good tonight, hasn't he? I mean, he is the absolute typical north-south route 1, elbows and knees. He would be a horror show to defend against.
Smith goes left to Farrell. Trying quick hands, but the ball's gone to ground. Marshall rescues the situation. But Wigan lose a bit of ground. Here's Wardle.
5. Move together, Jack. Broadbent square. Wait there.
O'Neill on the last, so Smith's boot comes into play. Safely caught.
What? You good now, mate? Move, Liam, square! Pull back. Hold.
Richardson.
2. Move, Brad! Hold.
And again, good work from his senior. I think he's shown up well. I think him and Sam Wood, big, rangy three-quarters who've shown up well, taken plenty of yardage when available. And it's going to take more than that to compete at the top end of the table, and this attack has looked a little scratchy. Nice ball, good line. Sam Hall, another young prospect at the Castleford Tigers. Now in his 3rd season, he's had first-team opportunities limited, but comes with high praise. He's talking to Paul McShay.
It's another set of 6 here as well. So suddenly Castleford can build on the pressure they're creating here. Can they turn it into points? Can they get their first try of the season? Horn, Richardson, spinning it back to Miller. Offers it inside for Putt. Putt, tries an offload from the ground. It was ill-advised, and Wigan picking up the pieces with a chance to run it clear with field.
Yeah, again, another opportunity spurned. This will be a busy video review session, I think, for Craig Lingard, Danny Maguire and company. It's just again loose on the tackle. Miskey doing what Miskey does, good yards, same as Marshall. So impressed with these two.
O'Neill. Back it comes to Smith. French. Well, they tried to be quick through the hands of Isa, but it was quite clearly a forward pass. Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of feel-good around the game at the moment at the start of this Betfred Super League season. So many people looking forward to what's to come in the next 9 months. But look at that. A round one total record attendance of 76,699, taking in what we've got here tonight and in Perpignan. And it breaks the previous record for a 6-round game by over 7,000. 6-game round, I should say, by over 7,000. And it's the third most attended opening round on record, which includes 7 rounds when we had a 14-team competition. So all that, you know, the new TV deal, the fact that every game's going to be live on Sky this year, John, everybody's buying into what feels like rugby league being reloaded this year.
Yeah, it's felt different. Everybody I've spoken to in the supermarket, walking the dog for the last 2 or 3 months, they've all been talking about it, all been saying, all wanting to pick a team, back a horse. There's a different feel. There's a different look, certainly. There's a different feel.
Release it now! Wait there!
Nothing too much different about the Wigan Warriors, though. They look as competent as they did last year.
They are going to be the team to stop again this year on the evidence of what we've seen so far, but there are plenty in this competition who will fancy themselves to do that. Miller's taken high. Patrick Mago's in trouble here. It's definitely a penalty.
Yeah, it's a penalty. I think it's a reactionary. It's a step, you know, it's a step and a reach, and there's, you know, it's a brush across the face down onto the shoulder. This will be a penalty only. This is the only hope that, you know, I think the referees have done remarkably well, that they don't overreact with those sorts of incidents, and they haven't. I think that's a penalty and nothing more. Well done, referee.
Nixon Putt takes Castleford a little closer. Liam Hall waits at dummy half. Here's Lawler trying to get the arms free. Wigan prevent that. Here's Horn again. And now Putt once more. They're getting within feet of that Wigan line now. But Wigan's defence has been absolutely iron so far this evening. Can they stay in this irresistible manner? Horn again. Step on by Sam Hall. Wigan just drawn out and keep making tackles. 1 play to go. This is Horn. Horn goes right. Hooley tries the kick. It takes a deflection. There's a scramble on the ground. It's Castleford who knock on, and Wigan get the ball back again in the scrum.
Yeah, and in the final analysis, Matt Peat will look at this, and he doesn't have the benefit of a duck egg against Castleford Tigers' name, but that try line is intact. They've got 6.5 minutes to keep it so. And you put that partly down to a misfiring Castleford attack, but also down to the resolute nature of that Wigan Warriors defence. Plenty of thoughts for Craig Lingard, plenty of development, plenty of tinkering on the training field to do with that attacking setup. But for Matt Peat, Sean O'Loughlin, Thomas Luluai, I think a really, really good start to the season.
So Wigan come again.
One, move, square markers. Wait there.
Brad O'Neill just bending his back, providing the bullets for these Wigan forwards to try and take their side further downfield.
Wait on me.
Isa. O'Neill inside once again.
3, move, 5 meters on it.
Effort by Ellis. O'Neill, and now French. And French fancies a bit of the razzle-dazzle, but Miller just about kept a hold, slowing him down just enough before help came in to stop French before he certainly ripped a hole through. It's back with Smith, who thought about the kick, has gone long instead, and Wardle can create stuff, and Marshall can finish it, and Marshall's over again. In the end, they were clutching at thin air, and just for good measure, with all the confidence in the world, Marshall sidesteps into a very easy goal-kicking position. Wigan, at a canter, have got themselves to a 30 points to 4 lead.
Yeah, it's great work again down that left edge. Bevan French provided the spark on the right edge midfield, but again, you look at the devastating left-hand side combination. Ball shifted out. Again, nice little change from Harry Smith. Long cut-out ball and then a beautiful pass from Jake Wardle. He's a classy centre, isn't he? And Liam Marshall is going to have a lot of joy in 2024 playing outside that man. Marshall with the double. 30 points to 4, kick to come. Just that little bit of deception from Harry Smith, and the long ball draws up the defending winger. Marshall crosses, just improves the angle a little bit underneath the sticks to make no doubt about the conversion. This will be 32 points to 4. 3 minutes left. Good day at the office for the Wigan Warriors. 2 points on the board, try line intact. Fans are happy.
Yep, the one blemish on the landscape, to remind you, is the HIA failure by Luke Thompson, which means he misses next week's World Club Challenge against Penrith, and a little bit of a concern as well about Cruz Leeming with his ankle injury. But other than that, it's been a very good night for Wigan. Haven't conceded a try. They've scored 5 of their own. And Harry Smith in decent kicking form as well. Right in front of the sticks. 32 points to 4, Wigan now lead.
And whilst it's been a night for the forwards, and I think the Wigan forwards have shown up really well. Luke Thompson in a short spell. I think Liam Byrne's been really destructive. Willie Isa, Liam Fowell, of course. The ubiquitous Liam Fowell. Cade Ellis in the lock position. You know, it has been the outside backs that have benefited, and you've had very, very fleeting glimpses of the quality on show from French and Field and Wardle. But there's 2 try assists and 2 tries in there as well, you know. And you look at Marshall and Wardle and the space that they're given, and you give enormous credit to the work the forward pack have done in conditions that demanded as much.
He often goes under the radar, doesn't he, Liam Marshall, because of the so many star players in that Wigan side.
I just think, you know, a winger these days has got to do well both sides of the ball. You know, it's all well and good scoring 20 tries a season, but if your defence is leaky and your defensive decision-making is not up to scratch, then you almost kind of, you know, I played a lot of my career on the wing. You kind of almost have a tally, you know, points scored and points conceded. He is a very, very accomplished defender and a hard worker as well. As I said, you get 20 carries a game out of him, 100+ meters a game out of him, very few mistakes, good under the high ball for a short lad, blisteringly fast, and can finish with the best of them. I think he's one of the very best we've got.
5, move, back. Come on, George.
Here's O'Neill, 2 minutes left to play. Wigan just looking to see out time, but they're also looking to go out with the bang, the chip downfield, but that's taken really well by Hooley, actually, because the bounce was awkward, and he was under pressure as well on the chase, but he kept a cool head. Castleford get at least hands on ball for another set of 6.
Yeah, I think Castleford Tigers, you know, I hope we don't go home from this evening feeling underwhelmed, because, you know, they're playing against the champions, and for many people's idea of grand finalists and grand final winners, actually, in 2024. But they're also playing under a new coach in a new structure with a hell of a lot of player turnaround. So I would urge Castleford Tigers fans to stick with them.
Miller with a kick to the corner, but Miskey picks up sharply. And Field just having a look here at what's available, but with a burly frame of El Zakim in his way. Marshall. Wigan fans in fine voice at the moment. They've been rained on throughout the night, but it has not dampened their spirits because of what they've seen on the field.
3. Move it, pull back,
Still
middle, pull
banging
back.
that drum.
Oh.
O'Neill again. French with her quick hands. Kieran with the angled run.
4. Move now, back.
O'Neill picks up and scampers into that little umbrella of defenders ahead of him.
Yeah, good.
Smith to Field to eventually Marshall from Farrell's pass. Marshall making up a move with a kick down the middle, but Wood was the only man close to that. And Cass have it back. Well, it has been quite a night for Matty Pete and his Wigan Chargers. They've done a real efficient number on Castleford here. A smile of contentment, I'm sure. Liam Marshall with that brace of tries, and a painful opening night for the new Cass coach, Craig Lingard. Lost Liam Watts in the first half to a red card, which he feel will have cost his side dearly. But there's no doubt Wigan have been the